Hey guys, my name is Ismas. Welcome to another Blender 2.8 tutorial, and this time we're going to this is the explanation to my previously uploaded video of making this bridge scene in Blender 2.8. So the reason why I'm making this kind of format where I upload a time-lapse video and then later I upload the explanation is that when I'm making this type of scene, I usually want to concentrate on the on the creativity part of the modeling, and also I'm always trying out different ways of modeling an objects that I've never tried out. So if I try to make a tutorial while I'm explaining what I'm doing, it can kind of become a mess. So that's why I'm separating the time lapse from the explanation, and also the explanation, the tutorials where I'm explaining everything, they usually become longer than I want them to be. Something that would take me an hour to model would take me about 3 or 2 hours because I have to stop and explain what I'm doing. And most of the time I'm just repeating myself over and over, something that I've already talked about. So when I make just a separate explanation video, I can just go in and explain the parts that need to be explained that I've never explained before. So yeah, that's what we are going to do in this tutorial. So yeah, you can see that this is the render scene. Is still rendering about 32 samples from whatever that is. So anyway, so yeah, I'm using cycles to render this scene, but in the preview images that you might have seen, that was Blender Eevee. Let me see if I can show you those rendered images. So these are some of the rendered images. This is all Blender Eevee, real-time render engine, and they're close to what Cycles is giving us. So, but those Cycles looks more realistic. I think it's close enough that we can. If you don't want to spend the time, because you can see this is just one single frame, and it took around, I don't know, 5 minutes to render this. This is all real time. And we're going to switch in to Eevee in a few seconds. I just wanted to show you the rendered images. And if at any time you want to look at the rendered images of any of the models that I have uploaded, you can just go to my CG Trader account. That is cgtrader.com/EVX, Ismail's VFX. And or you just go to my channel, you will see a link at the top of the banner. So these are some of the rendered images we have looked at. And for every object you see here, model you see here, there is a time-lapse video or explanation video. This I think is the recent one, and these two are the recent models we have worked on. I think even this. So every model you see here, there is a video for it on YouTube. So if you want to see how I made any of these objects, and there are quite a lot, I think over 100 models now, you will find a video of me either explaining how I did it or just a simple time-lapse video of even this Fortnite bus. You will see the tutorial there. And if you want to download these models, you can just come to my CG Trader account and download them directly there, or go to my Patreon account and support me that way, and you also get access to the models there. So most of the time I'm a bit lazy and I don't upload some of these models up on Patreon, but if you have a specific model that you don't find there, you can just let me know and I'll make sure to upload it there for you. But I usually I make sure that I upload them on CG Trader though, so you can get them there if you want. Anyway, let's get into the time lapse and start working. So this is in Cycles. You can see some of the details are missing, but like the bumps in the water here, they're not coming out. But if we change to Eevee, just need to give it a moment to load the shaders. You can see the water bumps are coming in. Where is my bridge? Okay, here it is. can see this would take, I don't, let's just switch to cycles and see how long it would take you to render this. 1, 2, 3, 4. We haven't even seen the scene yet. It's still loading up, and it is more realistic, but it is also more computer heavy. So yeah, but and they also give you an option to switch back to Eevee if you want at any time here. So even when you are in cycles, you can still preview your scene in Eevee by using this material node. But that's not the purpose of the tutorial. We are going to look at the modeling, and then in part 2 I will explain the texturing a bit, because I did some fancy texturing, I think. Yeah. So if you saw the time lapse, so let's go back to Eevee and work on the model. So I guess I will just open up a new blend file here. Yeah, try doing that in 3D Max and see how long it will take you to load up another version of the application. So yeah, so what I did, you can see these are very simple and basic models, but what I did was I made 2 separate objects here, and let me just make it here. So the bridge itself is very basic. The complicated part is the texturing. So what I did, I made, let me delete this. Delete. So assume this is the block part of the bridge, because you see this bridge is modular, and you can extend it as much as you want. And let me just select this curve. There is a curve here. So it's modular, so if you want to extend it, you just use the curve, extrude it, and you will extend the bridge further. So that's why I modeled it in segments like this. So the segments itself is very simple, just extrusions and in different areas. And I use the mirror modifier to make one side, and then the mirror modifier to make the other side. Let me turn on random materials, cavity, and maybe shadows here. So add a loop. I have gone through these steps quite a lot, so I don't think I need to explain them a lot. Then extrude this. So assume this is the first side of the bridge. I will extrude this as well. The X. So then I added a mirror modifier, and but it's going through, so you need to just move this so that it the last points at the last vertices just connect with the center point there, the pivot point. And so this is this segment here, assume that. So what I did is I duplicated an instance of this using Alt-D and moved it to the side like this, and also positioned my camera so that I can look at the final scene, how I want the final scene to look. So Control-Alt-0 will position your camera in the view, in the current view. So position the camera the way I wanted it, so like this. And I also split the screen. Sometimes it's hard to split these areas. I don't know why. Okay, so I left this other side for that, so that I can see how my final scene will look. And if I want to make any changes, I will just go to this instance and make the edits. You can see any edits I make here, make here will be transformed to this object here. And what I can do is add an array to this other instance in the y direction. So you can increase the count. Maybe you can use a negative value if you want, or you can just rotate this in the z direction 180 degrees, so that is facing the other side. And to give it this curve so that we can control this with the curve object. Let me change this to the spline time to automatic. So what I did is just added a curve, shift A curve object like this, and selected the object, shift A, then shift S cursor to selected, and then move this curve to the cursor, to the position of the object, selection to cursor, rotate that, and then you can come in and add a curve modifier. Or what you can do is just before you use the curve modifier, in the array settings you can change the fit type from fixed count to fit curve, and then select the curve. This way, where is the curve? This way, whenever you extrude the curve, you can see this will match the length of the curve. I don't know why it's let me try applying the rotation and scale. Okay, so whenever you extrude this, the length of the object will also, of the array count will also increase to fit the length of the curve. But we need this bridge to follow the curve of the curve. So for that, you just under the array add another modifier, add the curve modifier, and then pick the curve as your object, and you can see that's what we have. So we can reduce maybe the curve length a bit. Grab. And when you move it in the y direction, you can see it will follow that curve as well. Let me see. I don't know why it's too long. It's longer than the curve. Maybe because I didn't apply the scale here. So let's see. Let's first delete this and then apply, because you can't apply the rotation. You can't apply the scale if you have instances like this. So you need to first delete this and then apply rotation and scale, so that the scale here is 1:1 for all the axes. So let's create an instance again. Alt D, snap it to the cursor. Shift S, selection to cursor, and then again add the array modifier. Then use fit curve. Then select the curve. Then you need to change the offset to Y, so that it follows that, but it's going in the wrong direction. You can move it. Okay, we haven't added the curve as the deformer for this object, but we need to rotate this 180 degrees so that it's facing the other direction. And I think you can see that this now fits the length of the curve, because we applied the scale and the rotation of this object. Then we can add the curve deformer and select it as our object, and you can see what we have. So if it's going off the curve, you can just move it in the y direction, and you can see sometimes if you don't have the rotation applied, the direction might be different for you, and it might also be different for you in the relative offset here. So you can play around with the different settings there, or apply the rotation and scale of your object. So now I can easily make modifications to this object while I see how it would look here. And you can also come in here, select the curve here, and make edits to your bridge how you want it to look. You can extend it in any way you want, and the array count will always increase to fit the length of the curve, because that's the option we set it to yeah. So you can see you can make a really cool bridge here, and you can see that if I move the camera up a bit, it doesn't see the entire bridge. You can see this is clipped off. That's because if you go through the camera settings, you will see that under camera, let's see, under lens, you will see that the end clip is set to 100 meters, and I think this distance is more than that. So we can increase here, so that everything, so that none of our bridge is clipped. So see. That's how to fix that. And if the bridge is too small for you, you can also just come into this object, and you can also come here and turn on this mirror modifier, so that you can see it in the edit section. Select this. We need it to be turned on here. So you can just select these, turn on clipping, and push these aside, and that will increase the size of your bridge like this. Now, you know what? Let me just show this here, because since it has the textures, you can see how the textures scale and everything else. So you can see this is edit mode. So I will just grab around these vertices. Let me go to wireframe, maybe front view. Make sure not to scale, otherwise you're going to be distorting the mesh. Just move the vertices. So let's go to textured mode. It's not from there. We want, if we want to, we need to select this entire bridge like this, and that way we can widen the bridge. So you will notice that the textures are also being stretched because we edited the mesh. So you may need to UV unwrap the object again, so that you reduce that stretching. And now you can see these guardrails are in the middle of the road, so we just need to move them. Where is my 3D cursor? Okay. Why is it this side? Let me see. Median point. Okay. I'll just move it in the Y direction to around there. So I'm also using the same principle for making these guardrails. So you see this is the instance, and whenever okay, this is not the instance, it's here. I can make changes here. Maybe I can extrude this like this, and actually that would be cool because I think those are supposed to be there like that. So yeah, you can make simple edits. You make the edit on the instance and it will be updated for your bridge. And so okay, this camera is way down. It's supposed to be around here. you make the edits on the instance, and they will be duplicated on the bridge itself. So even in the texturing, you only need to work on this here. And sometimes if your computer is not fast enough, and you can just work on the instance in how is it called, in solo view, and then preview the edits later. So any changes I make here, they can and if I want to increase the size of this bridge, I can also just go to edit mode and scale this in the y-axis like this, and you see it has also increased the size of these. You can see the distance between these middle lines has also increased because I scaled up this bridge here. So even the texturing, any changes you make here, the same changes that are made here. So I think it's very easy to make. For the water, that was simple. That is just textures. This is a simple plane, no subdivisions or anything. We'll look at the texturing in the next video.